You know that split that you have where one part of you wants to go one way and the other part of you wants to go the other way. We often call it self-sabotage. We also call it procrastination. We call it all sorts of different words. This is something that I've been dealing with for a long period of time. And whenever I have dealt with one layer of it, I uncover another layer of it that it's like, holy shit, you know. But in my situation, I really have a lot of regret that I didn't really face it for what it really was. And this sort of goes back to what another subscriber tried to convince me of, was that it was more of a spiritual issue than it was a physical issue, because it can seem as if I'm trying to medicate my problems away. But what I was basically trying to say is that all issues are different. You don't have a specific issue. But I think it's now shifted into the realm of this is more of a strictly spiritual issue. That is to say, how I define it as, there are some themes in our life that seem to repeat themselves, that unless you deal with them, you'll be dealing with the same issue again and again and again and again and again in different forms. Why do I always have the same crappy boss? Why do I always get into the same crappy relationships? Why do I always get so far in a project and then totally explode and then have everything just come down in bloody confetti everywhere and have to start all over again? And today I did some research. I was looking around. I'll link the video in the description. It's basically from this guy who talks about a lot about narcissistic personality disorders and how to recover from them. This is specifically a video called How to Cure CPTSD, which for all of you that don't know is complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which in this case for me was elicited from growing up in an environment whereby you would get love and hate pretty much in the same package. So they'd be really nice and kind one day, and so you think, yeah, this is great, and then the next day they'd stab you in the back and say, like, come here, everything is nice, warm love, hugs and kisses, go fuck yourself, whack. And then when you have that again and again and again, it messes up your ability to basically, it messes up your ability to maintain relationships, not only with other people, but also with yourself. And I think this goes to a lot of self-sabotage as well, is that whenever I feel like I'm doing too good, I immediately sabotage myself, because it's like, oh shit, I know what's on the end of this lollipop, cancer. Yeah, like this. So whenever I get anywhere, like for example, I have 11 videos. I told you I've got 11 videos either uploaded, half edited, or just in the raw form that I haven't put up, because the self paralysis has become so strong that I've had to basically come out and just do this video or a video just so that I can break this ridiculous chain and cycle. And the reason why I fucked up is because I didn't listen. I slipped back into that I'm just going to improve my health so that I don't have to face my problems. And what I realized was that I was basically using health as a way of running away from the things that I was most afraid of. That is to say, I was put on this earth, I believe, to relearn what it is like to be vulnerable and to relearn a new type of authentic communication, and also understand the nature of forgiveness, whereby even though you have experienced betrayal and you're constantly dealing with that in the back of your mind, relearning what it's like to open up those boundaries and let people in again instead of keeping them closed. Because I know that if I keep them closed, I could still live. God, I need a shave. That I could still function properly, but I would then basically pass on that same trauma to my kids, but 10 times worse. And this is what we see generation upon generation, is that unresolved emotional trauma is passed down to the next generation, but it's also going to be a lot worse, and it's often not very... Sorry, I'm having fun. I'm actually going to leave these like this. Yeah, weird interval. So the trauma is passed down from generation to generation until it basically gets to the point where it's resolved or something bad happens. And this is never really seen, because it's usually just like a suicide or a drug overdose, or they get involved in the wrong gang and then they get shot, or they go off to war and then they get killed. And so you don't see the manifestation of this trauma until usually it's too late. And the people that generally tend to turn around and try to deal with this trauma become what's called wounded healers. And it's the archetype from Carl Jung, whereby we are people who we are stuck in this idea that we're slowly making improvements, but at the same time we're dragging along all of our past wounds, and we're trying to work them out and trying to put them into some sort of coherent structure. And that's what I've been attempting to do for a long period of time, which is why most of my life has been about personal development. Because if you watch my previous videos, you know that I was in an absolute horrible state. I could not function like on my own at all, and I was addicted to drugs. I was addicted to everything, and then I finally got myself out of it to a point where I could actually function independently. The problem was, and this is why I say I was wrong, is that I was still addicted to the behavior of my narcissistic parents. That's to say, the main reason why narcissism is so deadly is because it has that push-pull thing. And you will see this whereby you may be in a relationship whereby the person was really great at the beginning and you just become addicted to their love cookies, and then eventually they start dripping poison in your ear and slowly weathering you down like a rock on the ocean, to the point where you're just this quivering mass of pain and anger and frustration, and so either she leaves you, or you leave her, or, you know, something bad happens. And so this narcissism is actually on the rise. And I really recommend anyone who's dealing with narcissistic tendencies or dealing with self-sabotage to check out the links that I put in the description from this guy. Not only him, but there's also a guy who taught him a lot about this. He's a full-blown, like, he's a full-blown sociopathic narcissist, but he is a functional one, and he gives you like great insights as to what it's like. And literally listening to him, it's like, holy shit, like, this is my childhood, this is partly me. And what I realized recently is that one of the best ways for me to really recover from this, and what I've been ignoring, is the fact that I need to move out again, because I had made multiple attempts to move out of home, and each one of them didn't really work very well. And I actually had an opportunity again on Monday in January, whereby everything was set up. I was going to move in with my close mate, and at the last moment I thought, no, it's okay, I can make it work, because I still bought into that, you know, they can be nice and maybe I can make it work. Because hell, I had comfort, I had all sorts of places to make YouTube videos, I have a big work area space to use, like, everything is perfect. The problem is that, like, the PTSD is still being triggered again by those same behaviors. And what you'll find is that people who are dealing with self-sabotage almost always are in contact with someone who is still triggering their old CTPSD. But the issue is that if it's caused by someone who... The issue is actually identifying who that person is, because many times we don't even know that there are people in our lives that are slowly drip-feeding poison into our ears, because we're so convinced that they are nice people, that they are just absolutely nice and kind and caring, and if you say anything against that, you will be shamed. How dare you say that about your wife? She was so kind to you. How dare you say that about your boyfriend? He's provided all the stuff. How dare you say that about your parents? They've done all this stuff. How could you? And that's the illusion that is cast around the victims of people with narcissistic abuse. It's almost as if the narcissist waves a magic wand and there's this fog that surrounds you, that to everyone else, they see you as just this ungrateful, you know, person who's absolutely fine, who's just lazy, whatever. But they don't see you for who you really are and what's actually going on. So because of this, it's very, very hard for narcissists to really recover, because they start to believe that basically the behavior that they're getting, this push-pull, love-hate relationship, is correct. And so this is why one day, and many people won't even notice this because they're so used to doing it to themselves, is that one day they'll be super kind to themselves, and the next day they will beat themselves to a pulp. And it's so common, it's so commonplace, that it doesn't matter who you are, you will know someone, or even yourself, who, like, and this isn't normal, by the way. This is one of those things, is that the more you look into just life and psychology, the more you realize that what we take as normal is not normal. It is not normal to one day be like, oh, I'm super motivated, you know, everything is great, yeah, you know, I'm just healthy, sane self-empowerment, and then the next day being like, kill yourself, you ungrateful piece of shit. I mean, it doesn't have to be that extreme. It can just be, oh, why can't I do this? Why can I never achieve? Why can I? It's not normal, but we're so used to it. Why? Because we are replaying a mirror of what we received in the past. We are replaying a mirror of this love-hate, push-pull, hot-cold relationship that we grew up with. Because when we're younger, we look to others to tell us what love is. We look to others to define who we are. We look to others to see, am I lovable? Am I capable of being loved? And obviously, what we learn in the past gets encoded. So it doesn't matter if you're 5 or 50 or 80 or whatever, that you're still replaying it unless you get it out of your system. And so what happens is, if we are receiving a message from someone that, yes, you deserve love, and then at the last minute, it's cut off, what happens is that the desire for love doesn't go anywhere. So when this desire for love clashes with this desire to be safe and to not rock the boat, we start to sabotage ourselves. We start to deliberately put ourselves into positions where we will fail, because we know that at the end of that lollipop, like I said, is something bad. And so we don't want to do it. But at the same time, the desire for it never goes away. And this push-pull relationship is what causes a lot of addictions. Why a lot of people get addicted to alcohol. A lot of people get addicted to food, because this unresolved conflict of love, hate, you know, I want someone to appreciate me and then I don't because of pain, just destroys people from the inside out. It causes suicides. It's also one of the reasons why there's this massive spike in male suicide as well, because we're seeing this on a societal scale against men, and we're seeing it obviously as women included as well, but we're seeing this against men, whereby there's this, you've got to man up, you have all these expectations, you know, you got to provide, you got to build it, but then you are the scum of the earth, especially if you're a white man. You are the scum of the earth. You don't deserve what you have. All of your culture is based on lies, and so this complex deconstruction of the integrity of one's own identity, I hope that word salad made sense, causes all of these problems that we see with addictions, with sabotage, with not living up to our full potential. Because there is no reason why, when you set a goal for yourself, when you get halfway there, you suddenly turn around and say, oh no. I mean, the path isn't blocked. There aren't sharks on the other end. There is no logical, empirical reason why you've set your goal for something and you're not getting it. But you're trying. You're trying really hard. And there's no reason if there's no obstacle. Now, you could be a bit semantic about it and say, well, maybe you never actually wanted to do this in the first place, which is certainly true. What you'll find is that a lot of people, because they just want to find some sort of identity, will latch onto and do things that seem easy, but they don't actually want to do. But they think, I just need to do something because I need to prove myself and blah, blah, blah. So they'll get halfway through and then their just heart isn't anymore. So they sabotage. And what you'll find is that the key to getting over that, what I found is that a lot of the time you have to face up to the fact that you are lying to yourself and also you are not allowing yourself to experience and go onto the truth path that you want to do. It's almost as if we don't have the courage to say, this is the hill that I want to die on. I'm now going to do that. We say, no, I'm only going to go half baked. You know, I'm only going to go halfway. And then when we get there, and then we inevitably fail, which we know we will. This is what self-sabotage is. It's not this mystical, it's not this magical unconscious thing. You do it consciously to yourself. I have caught myself with like a tiny smile on my face saying, I'm going to wreck it. I'm going to make it worse. I'm actually, I might not even shave. I actually like this. I want a twirling moustache, but fuck, I need to do something with it. Stop criticizing yourself. No, be natural. Stop criticizing yourself. And it's like, and one of the cures that I found, and also one of the reasons why I was wrong, this is where the whole spirituality thing comes back into it, is you need to let people back into your life. That is the best cure. Sane, healthy people and sane, healthy relationships are the cure for most ailments. And you'll find that if you look at all these advanced societies that is in terms of health, where they live very long, the key that they always say is community. One of the top things they always say, they need a community. The community literally keeps them alive. And this is also why you'll find that many men, after they retire, they die. Because they have no purpose. They have no drive, they have no motivation, and they also have no community because they just piss off to a retirement home. And there's no one to take care of them apart from some nurses who don't give a crap about them and they're only visited occasionally. And because of that, it's like, well, and you need community. And this is what I had neglected. The issue with me, and I think this is why it's sort of come down to the point that I need to, that I really want to drill home for people who are dealing with narcissistic abuse or CTPSD or any of the other symptoms. I suggest looking it up, because what you will find is, wow, like there's so much stuff. Is that you have to cut yourself off from the source of the problem. You have to cut out the bad and you have to get in the good. And the main difficulty that I find with a lot of people is that they don't even know that the people that they think that are good in their lives are actually poison. that the people that they have trusted and the people that they are allowing to, you know, they are allowing themselves to respect, they are allowing themselves to put their identity on them, because that is what respect is that I respect you because you represent a part of my identity that I want to develop and that I want to grow. So I respect you because you embody heroism or determination or heroism? Anyway, or heroism, like, yeah, he's really heroic. How often do you point out to someone and say he's really fucking heroic? But yeah, no, like you, but yeah, so that's the best way of actually cutting off. You have to cut it off at the legs. You have to just sever the connection, and then you have to get people in who, the key thing is you have to allow the wound to close. You have to get people in your life who don't give you this push-pull, hot-cold attitude. People who will give you a non-biased, unobjective, and non-Jekyll and Hyde, that's like good and evil, like relationship. And this doesn't have to be intimate. It can just be friends. But the problem with me is that I cut myself off from it because it became physically painful to be around people. Because this was back a few years ago when the actual physical anxiety because of mercury poisoning and all sorts of other stuff and an upset gut. So my anxiety physically was really bad. But because I was also dealing with this, like, oh, you know, hot and cold relationship, like, it became emotionally difficult to be with people because I so desperately wanted to be open and vulnerable, but I was terrified of doing it. And so I drowned myself in alcohol. I drowned myself in all sorts of illicit drugs. I did all that stuff just so that I could properly interact. So whenever you see people out there who are like, oh, why is it that I need to drink to be social? It's because, in my estimation, one of the main reasons is because there is this hot, cold, push-pull, I want to be open and honest, but at the same time I'm terrified relationship, whereby your innate needs to want to connect are warring with your fear of being stabbed in the back for being vulnerable. And that's what it comes down to. And the key, ironically, is vulnerability, is more vulnerability, but with the right people. You got to cut out the people who will keep opening the wounds and get in the people who can open the wounds. And that is where I say I fucked up again, because I made the same mistake again. I could have avoided it. I could have just left again. I would have been living with my best mate somewhere, you know, and it would have healed, you know, because I tell you, back in my old social anxiety days, when I was so terrified of being with people, I went to this like retreat place for like 2 weeks, and I forgot, like, my neuroses went so quickly I didn't even know that I had it. Like, that was the power of getting into a community of people who aren't insane. Well, you know, who are trying to get better, you know, who want to connect. That is the power of it, and that is the power that I think is not being utilized properly. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna say for today. I'm gonna upload this in its raw form. I'm not gonna, well, I might split it off into two and just like theme it off, but I know that I should probably just stick it out, because then it will become the 12th or 13th video that I've made that I haven't actually put up yet. Wow. Anyway, first step is always vulnerability. So I'll see you all later. Meh. Meh. I'm so not going to shave this. Peace.